My name's Jocelyn Rashley. I'm the Development Manager for NatSpec, and I've actually been with NatSpec now for, as of this year, 21 years. For at least 5 of those years, I did a lot of work in my own time with Sydney architects putting together specifications, and I've helped produce the National Master Specification for the last 20 odd years. This seminar is in 2 parts. The first part is an overview of specification writing and tips and tricks on what you might do when you want to put that spec together. This is the overview of specification writing. Why have a specification? Basically because there are a number of design decisions which you cannot express solely on the drawings. You need to express them in words. It's like you can't actually express quality on the drawings. You need to express the quality that you require in your job in your specification in words. It's also about communication. There are many different users of the specification. So you want to make sure that your specification is being interpreted in the same way by all those users. The courts will often look to the specification to determine the message. They're used to words, not drawings. So they'll look to the specification first. You want to make sure that your specification or your document is clear, it's consistent, a simplicity of language. A lot of people think because it's part of the contract documents that it needs to be written in legalese. You know, it has to sound legal, but that's not the case. Ask for what you want. The contra preferentum rule, that's basically saying that if you write ambiguity into your documents, you're going to be held responsible for that ambiguity. And you want to watch out for changes by your clients and your builders. This is just a clause out of the architect's registration documents, and it's examples of negligence on the part of an architect. And we're just showing here omissions from the drawings or the specifications. An example of a small project but large claim, this is a colleague of ours and he specialised in restaurant fit outs, and it was a fairly small job, $1.5 million. And basically what happened, the restaurant opened early, there were sliding glass doors, and someone's gone and walked through those sliding glass doors because the safety markings weren't on the doors. And so, you know, obviously the lady's taken them to court. The architect was able to deflect that litigation because he had specified the safety markings on the glass. The builder hadn't put them on. So it's just an example here. You can see the litigation costs were $750,000, half the cost of the job. So he was able to deflect that litigation. The order of precedence of the documents, you can see here that the specification comes prior to the drawings. It's a standard order of precedence. You can change that order of precedence in your special conditions, but that's just a standard order of precedence of your documents where they'll go first when they're looking, if there's a dispute. The specification is also a design document. A lot of people don't think that because it's dry, it's words, it's you know, it's boring, but it's a design document. It is. The specification needs to complement your drawings. Okay, it's not there to duplicate what you've put into your drawings, because the more repetition you have amongst all your contract documents, the more you're leaving yourself open to conflict within those documents. You want the specification to complement the drawings and the other design documents. It's a multi-purpose tool. It's a record of your design decisions. What NatSpec's saying when we go around delivering these seminars is basically if you start the specification process far earlier, you'll find that it just happens itself. If you start populating the specification as you're making those decisions, by the end of the process, the specification will mostly have written itself. See, I don't know about you guys, but we often get phone calls from people saying, I need a specification, I need the subscription tomorrow because I've got to write a specification over the weekend. You know, and it's not enough time, depending on the size of your job, but even then, it's not enough time to write a good document. You know, you need to start the process earlier. And this is what we're saying here, it's a record of the decisions that you've been making throughout the process. It can be an estimating document, a tendering document. We know it's a legal contractual document, an on-site working document. And that's one thing that you want to consider too. If it's going to be used on-site as a working document, how are you going to deliver that? How are you going to deliver that document to the contractor or, you know, the project manager? Because the way a specification is put together, there's lots of cross-referencing, and what happens is people are so caught up in writing traditional type specifications where it's a single document, it's all together, you deliver that document, but when it gets on site, what happens is that document gets split up into its individual pieces and handed out to the different trades. But if they're only getting their particular section, they're only getting half the story, because all those work sections cross-reference other work sections. So you need to be aware that when that document is used as a working document, how that's going to be split up and given to all the trades. It can be a dispute settlement document, a project management tool, and it can also show your compliance with all the statutory requirements. Are you complying with the local government requirements? Are you complying with the Building Code of Australia? That's what the specification can do for you. It can show that you are complying. This is a quote from our founder, Bryce Mortlock. And basically what he's saying here is that you need to specify the quality that you want in your project. You can't get that quality after it's been built. You need to specify it before the project gets started. A good specification. It addresses the client's brief, responds to the Building Code of Australia and other local statutory requirements, or not just local, but other statutory requirements. It's consistent with the method of procurement. It covers the total range of project elements. It's not just part of your project, it covers the total range of elements in your project. It's got a logical structure and is easy to navigate. In about 2005, NatSpec reintroduced a classification numbering system. We had dropped it for a long while, thinking that our specifiers would like to order the work sections in whatever construction order that they were familiar with. We reintroduced it in 2005 because people were finding it a bit confusing as to where they were going to find individual work sections within the spec. At the time we reintroduced it, it was really just to help us order the work sections in what we considered to be construction order. But since then it's taken a life of its own, in that it's, I'm not sure everyone's heard of building information modelling, BIM, that sort of thing. We've been talking with a lot of companies out there and universities, people working on BIM, and they want to start using the NatSpec classification system to communicate with the building model. So what I used to say when we first started doing these seminars was the numbers themselves don't really mean very much, but they are starting to now. And so you can see that the classification system is quite important so that you can find, there are a number of work sections. If you subscribe to, say, a building professional, for example, there are over 400 work sections in there that you would choose to build up your specification. So you need to know where you're going to find all those work sections. You want to make sure that the specification cites other documents precisely and meaningfully. You're not just referencing a document because it seems sort of relevant to what it is that you're specifying. You want to make sure it's a precise and meaningful reference. It's got a consistent approach to grammar and language. Depending on the size of your job, you may have a number of different people writing the same specification, someone doing the finishes, someone doing structure, someone else doing the civil side of things. So you want to make sure everyone's on the same page when they're writing that document. And we have a document called the Style Guide in NatSpec, which everyone in our office has a copy of on their desk. And it says, basically it says, okay, well this is the method of measurement that we use, and this is how we refer to those abbreviations for measurements. So everyone is consistent in the way they refer to things. The fact that NatSpec, the name, is always all uppercase. It's never sort of a capital N and the rest lowercase. That's how we refer to it. So that's in our style guide. It's something that, you know, if you've got a number of people in your office writing documents, you might consider creating your own style guide or building on the NatSpec one, just so that everyone is consistent in the way they're using language and grammar. And you want to make sure, as we've said before, that the specification complements your drawings and other contract documents, because as we said, the more you duplicate the information between all those documents, the more you're leaving yourself open to conflict. Okay, and this slide basically shows you the BCA Volume 2 content.